Hi guys. You're supposed to figure it out. You see, that's part of the point of God. It's built into the system of human consciousness, because human consciousness, with its power of self-consciousness, has the power to link up with the intellect into universal truths. It's built into the system that you're supposed to figure it out. Not everything, obviously. What I mean is God. And not just any old idea. I mean a specific concept that is very difficult to just automatically have. Some people are graced with a belief in God that's fervent from when they're children, and it's a correct idea. A lot of people think they believe in God when they're young, and children or young adults, and don't really believe in God. They believe in some story, tradition that they're told. They haven't interpolated it into their being. But to really get it and believe in it, it's built into the system. And it is a kind of on or off experience. This is why we call it conversion. Why is there this debate, this constant debate about, do you believe in God? It's like a fundamental question. And in some sense, those who don't believe can't see the fundamental quality of it. There's a vision among those who don't believe. I understand this as someone who used to not believe. That you have a model of the world, and then you try to wonder, well, now does God exist? And then you can debate whether or not God exists, and you go back and forth with this debate, and you can have philosophical arguments, and, you know, we'll discuss those, and what the point of view of atheism is, and all that. But the point is, that's fundamentally confused. Because what happens is, it's trying to put God into a system in which God has been eliminated in a million other ways. The whole edifice of a system of a non-believer has no room for God. Because God is such a fundamental background assumption. If you think of your belief network as a series of as a kind of Bayesian belief tree, which it is, and you ultimately keep going back and back and back to where the tree is formed, and what the root of the tree is that all the branches spring from. Oftentimes, it's just necessary, given the kind of concept God is, that you are either going to believe in God or not. And your whole belief tree is organized around this Bayesian prior, fundamental. The resistance to God the mind has, especially a mind that doesn't believe in God, a true like atheist mind that has always been atheist and has constructed an atheist brain, in a way that I understand, because that was my brain for a long time. There are deep mechanical resistances to the concept of God, because what has to be adjusted is not just adding a concept into the brain, which then can comport with everything else you know, fine. No. God comes in like Miss Miley Cyrus on her wrecking ball. God, if then assented to with the intellect, carries with it the ability to then necessarily reconstruct your entire belief system. Everything about it. You have to recontextualize all your ideas in the light of God, because God is that big of an idea. Everything turns on the question of God. It's not a casual affair. Everything about your existence turns on the question of God in ways that you can't even imagine. You think, well, if I believe in God or not believe in God, everything else about me and the world remains stable. You don't know that. Because once God exists, suddenly a possibility space of what reality is opens up, And you actually know far, far less than you ever thought you did. I mean, that's part of the humility of understanding God, is that you realize that the more you know, the less you know. And that probably goes on forever. The more you know, the less you know, once you know that God exists. God, who is not an amorphous concept, but the God of classical theism, monotheism. God who is pure act, necessarily exists within himself, is incomprehensible to contingent minds, but nonetheless has certain attributes that we can understand analogically, given what we understand about being by being. That God. That is the correct God. That is the bomb that's supposed to go off in your brain, meme bomb, and everything turns on it. And it's built into that you're supposed to get it. I mean, that's why there's such a debate in culture about it, and why people have conversion experiences. You're supposed to figure it out and then come to have faith. I mean, it's either like that or it's not. It's not about I need this amount of evidence or that amount of evidence. You know, very smart people, obviously, whether you are atheists, and very smart people are theists, but nonetheless, very smart people are theists. So even if you think you're a clever atheist, you must recognize that there is something that really smart people are understanding in a rational way. That there must be some way to get into their heads that you're just not understanding. Theists tend to understand atheists, but atheists don't understand theists. That is, I'm afraid to say, true, both from my experience and conceptually, because God is truth. You can see how atheism functions better when you're outside it from the point of view of truth, which is God, understanding the God form, which controls and dominates reality. You're supposed to get it. And so if you resist it, most resistance is superficial and intellectual masturbation. And real resistance is always psychological, fearful, and prideful. I mean, this is what people don't like to hear, but it ultimately is. Because your brain doesn't want to even confront an idea that big. It's too much. It's too much. It's like you barely got a grip on what the world is, and then you throw God into the mix, and it's like the thing, it is the red pill, like I said. And it demands that your Bayesian belief tree be totally rewired. You might have to let it all go and put in new input. And that's a threat. I mean, a belief tree doesn't want to change. It wants, there's an inertia to anything that exists to continue in existence unless forced into change through either the power of just reason barreling through, or pain or suffering, or whatever it is. But God is like a tractor beam. He will draw you towards him, and you're supposed to get it. And it is not against reason at all. It is the essence of reason. Reason itself implies that reason is ontologically paramount in another platonic space within the mind of God. Reason is transcendental in itself. Reason is not about, does not guarantee that you arrive at the truth. Reason is a truth machine. Reason is your ability to put ideas through the machine that delivers truth. And that is transcendental. You put bad information into the machine, you're going to get bad results, but you're still putting it into the machine in a way that animals can't do. Brutes. You have the reason machine, and that implies transcendental access. Figure it out. You're supposed to figure it out. And it's going to blow your mind. As it should. God bless.